Welcome to the routine weekly briefing for Thursday. My name is Aaron Swiggett, and I'm a meteorologist here at the Raleigh office. And I'll be walking you through the briefing. We're going to be covering through the end of February and into early March. Already starting to talk about that time. All right, I wanted to start off the routine weekly briefing with just an announcement. If you missed it last week, our severe weather preparedness week, that is going to be starting the first week of March, so the 1st through the 7th. And you can kind of see the general theme for each day going forward. The most important one we want to highlight is the Wednesday statewide tornado drill. Just to be aware that that is our day that we're going to be doing that here in North Carolina, and that is Wednesday, March 4th at 4:30. Or sorry, 9:30. March 4th at 9:30. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the weather going up for the next week or so. So as you probably are aware, widespread light rain going across the area today. That should continue through the day and really shifting east of the I-95 corridor, our eastern counties there, towards the evening hours. But behind it, we're most likely going to see a continuation of some low overcast, very low clouds, and some drizzle. And that will most likely continue even through tomorrow morning and even into the morning commute, especially to the south and east of the triangle there. So just know that we'll have at least a little bit of precipitation out there and may keep the roads a little wet. Then behind that, you can kind of see in the this upper right-hand panel here on Saturday, kind of see my cursor kind of going back and forth. There's this cold front that's going to be sweeping through the area into the mid-Atlantic, into the Carolinas, and that's going to be south of our area by Monday morning as we have some precipitation moving in from the west. And we're kind of watching that time period, Monday into Tuesday morning, for a brief period of perhaps some wintry mix. And there's not a whole lot of great confidence right now as far as what the predominant precipitation type be. So we're just calling it a wintry mix at this time. But for now, we're not really seeing a whole lot for snow. So things kind of trending towards maybe some ice pellets, freezing rain, or maybe even just rain altogether. So still trying to iron out those details. So kind of stay tuned. And subsequent forecast updates where we can kind of narrow in on the best timing and the expected precipitation type that will dominate during that time. So we're just kind of watching that area, that time frame. So stay tuned for that. And then behind that, maybe some unsettled weather may continue into Wednesday, but expect a drying trend as we get into Wednesday and into Thursday, and especially a warming trend as we get through the late weekend and even into the weekend. So if you're tired of the cold, you may be looking forward to the beginning of March here. All right, I mentioned some widespread rain today, so what kind of totals are we looking at here? This was the forecast here in the upper left-hand panel from the Weather Prediction Center for our expected rainfall amounts. In the blue, you can kind of expect to see more than half an inch in most areas, especially over the Triad and even into the Triangle, have already received over half an inch. So we've already reached those numbers. But in the lighter blues, you can expect, almost up towards an inch. There may be some isolated areas that get above an inch, inch and a half, maybe even approach 2 inches. But overall, we're not really expecting any kind of impacts as far as any kind of flash flooding or anything like that. We're not expecting that at this time. Just any kind of hazard would be just continued ponding on roadways there. And you can kind of see this is the Friday graphic here in the top middle of just some light precipitation, very low amounts traced 10th for most locations down towards the Fayetteville area and outside of our forecast area into Cape Hatteras, Wilmington. Those areas south and east of Raleigh may see the better chance for still accumulating precipitation on Friday. And then we'll be clearing out towards the weekend, which is probably a welcome sight for many people around here, where it seems like we've had precipitation or wintry something almost every weekend. So it'll be nice to have maybe perhaps a dry weekend for a change. And then our next system, as I talked about on Monday, coming in, bringing our next chance of rain, or at least precipitation. For the most part, most of our locations should see most likely just some rain, but we are watching the potential for some wintry precipitation, mostly along and that favored I-85 corridor and northward up into Virginia. All right, here's just a little quick look today, just so you kind of know what kind of hazards we're expecting today. And spoiler alert, not a whole lot. So really the only hazard today is just some isolated lightning possible and some thunder. This afternoon and evening as maybe a more band of some moderate or maybe even embedded heavy precipitation kind of moves across the area. You may see a rumble of thunder or two, but we're not really expecting a whole lot there. And then again, as I mentioned, the flooding outlook for today is less than 5% in all locations. So we're not expecting anything really beyond any kind of ponding. All right, hot off the presses, our new drought outlook for today for the state of North Carolina. Spoiler alert again, not a whole lot of change. If you can kind of see the last week's drought status down there on the bottom. There was an expansion of the severe drought just south and east of our area and into Wilmington and Moorhead's area a little bit. But as far as central North Carolina is concerned, we had some widespread, roughly an inch for most locations, especially across the Piedmont into the northern coastal plain over the last week. So that kind of just steadied the drought conditions where we got around an average for precipitation totals during that time. So steady state this week, and with some precipitation today, of course, and then maybe another round on Monday. Hopefully we'll start to see some improvements on this, dependent upon how much precipitation we get. So stay tuned for that for next week. And then looking beyond our forecast period here into the 8 to 14 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. Lots of red here on the left-hand panel here. So this is March 5th through 11th. During that time, strongly favoring some above normal temperatures. So I kind of hinted at it in the overview section, but if you're tired of the cold weather, heading into this weekend, you'll be a happy camper. We may also see some slightly favoring above normal precipitation for our area, but this much stronger signal for above normal and maybe several rounds of heavy precipitation is well to the west of our area into the western portions of the southeast, Tennessee, Ohio Valley. So what we're kind of expecting with several rounds of that, maybe leaking down into our area, leading to some above normal precipitation chances. But again, the signal is stronger much farther to the west of our area. And you can kind of see down across the bottom our normal temperatures for our 3 climate sites down across the bottom. We are now approaching our normal highs right around 60 and lows well above freezing. So the spring is on its way. And here's our experimental graphical hazardous weather outlook. Not a whole lot to talk about here, just the lightning for today. And then we'll go follow it up here with our summary. So again, light rain continuing today, maybe drizzle and light rain continuing into Friday. Still monitoring Monday to Tuesday, so keep an eye on forecast updates for that for some wintry precipitation potential. Overall, expecting mostly just light amounts, particularly in widespread impactful. So we'll see if that changes, but for now, I'm not really expecting anything too hazardous, widespread in our area as far as that goes. And then continuing our unsettled pattern potentially into midweek, and then strong signal for warming temperatures into the weekend. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Have a good day, everyone.